Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino Greco here again with another episode of Deep Listens. And today we are once again going balls deep in the NBA. It's our basketball podcast. We did it. We got to the end of another season. It's playoff time. It's time to see how we did, check our report card, see how our predictions went. It's time to make our next set of predictions, our playoff predictions. And it is also time to just revel in all of our teams being good. So joining me, as always, to discuss everything NBA, Pete Busby. Hello, Pete.
Hey, I am very excited to talk hoops. It is weird. This might be the first time ever all of our teams have been good.
All of us are happy.
I wouldn't go that far, but all our teams are good.
That other voice you heard is the happiest man in all the land.
Yeah.
King super fan.
Light the beam.
Chris ZombiePie Redacted.
We have a lot to talk about today. Unfortunately, we won't, as Gino can attest, we won't be talking about the Enes Kanter news, right?
What news?
Oh, didn't you hear? He got into a car accident.
Oh, no.
Now his name is Enes Can't Turn.
Well, that's the podcast, everyone. Thanks, everyone.
Do I have to? You're honestly going to make me look up whether or not this is
No,
real?
that's a joke.
Good. It doesn't exist.
Like, if I wanted to, it's like Derrick Rose had a very unfortunate accident, too. He's in the grave, but then God said Derrick must rise, so Derrick rose.
Did someone give you a very specific almanac or something? Like, where do you get these jokes that are so bad yet so detailed?
I take puns and then I replace them with backwards.
Okay, you come up with a pun and then you work backwards into a joke? Just like all the greats?
Yeah.
I see.
So,
Well,
like Devin Booker wanted to show his girlfriend a good time at a fancy hotel, so Devin Booker.
do you have any more?
No.
Okay. That's
Apparently,
good.
so here's a fun fact for you.
Okay.
So I was just reading about the beam because whoever came up with it is a genius. But it's officially called the Laser Space Cannon. And the beam has been credited to Tim Anderson, owner and founder of New Salt Laser International. Apparently, the beam is powered in the form of 1,000 watts of RGB laser power, noted to be the brightest full-color laser equipment in the world.
I will tell you, Pete, as someone who has actually observed it in person, and I'll send you a photo, I still don't understand how the FAA is allowing this to go because, this thing is bright. I don't know.
That's
I've already
what I was
posted this
wondering.
into Discord.
How is that not blinding pilots? How come you can't shine a laser pointer into the sky, but they can shine that shit?
I ended up looking it up due to I don't want to get super depressing. Due to frequent wildfires in the area, the Golden One Arena is actually designated as an evacuation zone for almost all of Northern California. Hence, as a result, it's actually a no-fly zone.
Oh,
so that's part of the reason why they're able to do it, but even then, it's very bright, and someone tricked Google temporarily to changing it into a place of worship on Google Maps.
That's very good.
Let me open this.
Yeah, so to start the show, just our normal housekeeping. Reminder, you can get in touch with the show at Deep Listens Pod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment section, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can support the show at patreon.com/deeplistens. We are also hoping that folks get some emails in for our 200th episode, which is coming up. So please do send in your hot takes. What episodes did you like? What moments do you remember? What episodes were garbage and we shouldn't revisit? Who is your favorite host? Which of your parents do you love the most? You have to pick. So get your emails
During this
in.
celebration, we will finally address if Talos Principle is actually about God.
We'll figure it out. Finally. Whether Elohim means God in this game. We'll figure it out. And another reminder, the Giant Bomb Community Endurance Run is rapidly approaching. It is the weekend, April 28th to 30th. We've got events coming up, so keep on looking out for that. And last bit of housekeeping, if you support the Patreon, remember you get in the Discord, and we are a few patrons away from having to play Sonic 06.
Yay.
A video game.
Woo.
Do you have a required goal of how much of that game you actually need to finish or complete?
I think we need to finish our plate.
Oh, I mean, Dan Reichert barely could do it.
How long is it?
So remember how you had to play through Nier Automata 5 times so that you could get the true ending? So Sonic 06 is like Nier Automata.
Wonderful.
At least it doesn't have branching routes like Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow the Hedgehog has like an ungodly number of optional endings for you to check out.
So edgy.
Yeah, he's got a gun.
I have been trying to keep relatively pure on this game. I saw a little bit of the Giant Bomb coverage of it, and what I've seen I can't unsee. So that's great. Support the show. All right, without further ado, why don't we start this with just some reveling in playoff stuff that's happened. So as we are recording this, the Kings are up 2-0 on the Golden State Warriors. The Nuggets are up 1-0 on the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Glorious. I will go in. Oh, I will go in. I am victorious. Have I ever been on the podcast at the playoff break? Ever been happy?
No.
I don't think so.
No, I've never.
Nuggets are up 1-0 after delivering the most savage beatdown of the playoffs so far. And the 76ers are up 2-0 on the Brooklyn Nets. So I feel it's only right if we clear the floor. ZP, how do you feel? How's it going?
Oh, this is good. This is what playoffs is? This is how playoffs happen? Playoffs
It is
good?
It
Fun?
is.
I would just say the one thing, ask not what Steph Curry can do for you. Ask what De'Aaron Fox can do for you. Other than that, I think that the one thing I would say, other than this is very good, is obviously Mike Brown has just won Coach of the Year. Should have fucking backed up my man on that one, god damn it. But I didn't. My pick was bad in hindsight. But no, everything that could have gone right went right. Who thought this team was going to actually not just... I think we all predicted that the Kings at best were a play-in team.
We did. Yes, that's
I did.
what we
That's
saw.
not a 3 seed.
Not the 3 seed. And I constantly heard people when things looked like they were going to be good or things were going to turn around. It's like, they're going to start losing games. They're going to start losing games. They can't be the 3 seed forever. Someone's going to take that spot. The Clippers are going to figure it out. Oh, man, look at what the Suns did. They're finally all going to get healthy and play regular season games together. And, I don't think that this is enough to entirely give Monty McNair carte blanche after the Tyrese Halliburton trade. But I think it is time to at least entertain the idea that maybe the trade was just a win-win for both sides.
Yep. I think that's a totally fair take at this point. I think Tyrese Halliburton is better than they thought, but Sabonis is better than I thought also.
Let's do a quick personality test, too.
Okay.
Show of hands. Who thinks Draymond Green stepped on Sabonis' chest on purpose?
I did.
I did.
I also
All right.
did.
I will just
Cool.
tell you, I don't know if you've been following this, Pete. I don't know when Klay Thompson became just annoying and not a fun person to follow or listen to, but
Was he ever?
Yeah.
That's
he
a
just had a boat
question.
and a dog.
He had a boat and a dog.
He was like
I
super
don't-
normcore the whole time, wasn't he? That was
Yeah.
like his whole shtick.
I don't know if I've said this, but I think this is the most unwatchable the Warriors have ever been, just because I don't enjoy watching Jordan Poole play and his style at all.
He's also very bad.
Yeah, he's not doing well. He's getting like 10 points per game, and he's turning the ball over really badly. There was that very comical bad pass in game 2.
That pass was amazing.
Just
Pete, did you
chucks
see it?
No, I haven't yet.
He threw it.
Let's look up some gifs.
It didn't get tipped or anything. He threw it into like the 4th or 5th row, just way over the head of everyone. Like I thought it might have ended up in like a lower bowl seat. It was ridiculous. One of the worst passes I've ever seen.
Really bad stuff. But I don't know that it seems like Mike Brown wants to wage this war of attrition, which I guess we'll talk about more.
He should.
He's like, well, I'll go 8 to 9 men deep because
He's like, I will go 9.
I don't know if you've seen the statistics, but when Steph is not on the floor, the Warriors are ungodly bad. I think their plus minus is minus 56.
Yeah, it's a beatdown. I love what Mike Brown is doing, and I love how he coached to get to this point. The Kings have been running all year long. All year long, they had one of the fastest paces in the league. And now they're playing a team whose best players are in their 30s, and they are just running on everything. They are running on makes, they are running on misses, they are running on turnovers. They're running on every single play. And if the Warriors jog for any second, it's a layup. And if the Warriors try to keep up with them, they're asking a bunch of 30-year-olds who are playing high 30s, low 40 minutes a game to do that. And they're in game 2, and the Warriors already look tired. I don't know what's going to happen if this series goes long, which it might not. It might be a gentleman's sweep or a sweep. If it goes long, these body blows will count. And, it's not like the Warriors are a model of health.
No. I think that Clay has definitely figured things out. I mean, his start to this season was ungodly bad, just bad, in a way that I don't think we've ever seen Clay struggle that much while playing basketball ever. But I think he's definitely gotten better in that regard. But the thing that I don't think it's definitely the mystery that no one's really figured out. I don't understand why the Warriors are this bad on the road.
I mean, I just think that they're a mediocre team, and it just so happens that their wins and losses have lined up with home and away. But I think that they're a very mid team.
The only teams that have lost more on the road than them are the Detroit Pistons, the Houston Rockets, and the San Antonio Spurs. That's the company that you're with. Like, even the Portland Trailblazers have more away games. Even the Utah Jazz have more away game wins.
Yeah, I don't know what's going. I don't think it's that big of a. I don't think the home road split is like magic or some sort of weird thing. I think it's just that the Warriors are not that good this year, and it's coming out in home road weirdly. But if we just saw it as they're 500 at home and 500 on the road, we wouldn't think that was weird.
It's just I don't want to say it's an end of an era for the Warriors, but it kind of feels that way because they have the same roster as they had when they won that championship last year.
Pretty much.
And, obviously Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole in the face was not great.
I'm looking it up now because I don't remember at all. Okay, so just looking over the James Wiseman draft.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. Let's talk about the James Wiseman trade.
How big of a miss that was for them. But, I mean, looking over the draft, I mean, you'd rather have Anthony Edwards. You'd rather have LaMelo Ball.
But who knew that Ant would be this good this quickly at this point?
I mean, they didn't have a chance to pick him, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, so that doesn't matter. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton went at 12. But, it's not as if, it was a killer draft that year.
It wasn't an obvious draft, I would say. Dang it, I still believe in James Wiseman. I know I'm the last person who
You
does.
are definitely the last person.
But I don't know. Dude's been hurt for 3 years. He barely played in college. He didn't play in college.
Tyrese Maxey was 21 to the Sixers too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
you weren't going to pick Tyrese Maxey. Though.
No, and also being a undersized gunner next to Joel Embiid is a very different story. I think he'd just be Jordan Poole. if he was on the Warriors. But yeah, I still think that James Wiseman, things he can do at his size, like he moves so fluidly for his size. I feel like
he's
he'll
already
figure
kind of
something out.
showing that in Detroit. Like, you give him decent minutes with a simple offense and realistic expectations, he's already doing better.
Yeah, he might end up just being JaVale McGee, and that's fine, I guess. But I'm not going to write him off yet. People wrote off Markelle Fultz, and he's totally fine now.
I mean, he's better. He's already better than Hasheem Thabeet. So he's got one leg up on another notorious big man.
Number 2 overall pick who was a notorious bust. Yep.
But for all we know, maybe the Warriors flick the switch, which I'm still unconvinced that they're even capable of doing it. Like, I keep hearing this because I live in the Bay Area. I don't know if I've ever said this. Like, the Warriors had 80 field goals last game, and they were like 50% of those were attempts were threes. Like, Steph, Clay, and Wiggins shot 68% from the field. So, like, they did what you expected that team to do in that situation.
And they still lost. The thing is, the Kings, at the point in the series where we are recording this, the Kings have not had a single good three-point shooting game. They have been in the 20s and the 30s. Like, if that turns and becomes a 40s or 50% shooting performance, which their team is a bunch of high 30s, low 40s three-point shooters. If that turns, it's just a blowout, given what we've seen. So I don't. This doesn't bode well for the Warriors that they've executed and they're still losing.
But also, I mean, let's give credit where credit is due. This version of De'Aaron Fox is a very bad man.
Yes.
Clutch Player of the Year just announced today.
There's not a player on the Warriors who can guard him well.
Wait, Clutch Player of the Year is in like Clutch Sports named the player of the
NBA
year?
Clutch Player of the Year award.
It's a new award, Pete.
It's a new award.
I didn't even realize this existed.
Do you guess who the other? Pete,
Well,
I want you to guess who the other
wait.
nominees were.
First
also.
question: who do you think the Clutch award is named after? Because they're all named after players now.
Okay, I'm going to ask one question.
Okay.
Is it like a big name, like an all-star name?
Yes.
Yes.
I was hoping it was Robert Ory.
No.
Clutch.
I'll give you a team as a hint, okay?
Okay.
Laker.
I was going to say, I hope it's not Kobe.
It's not
It's
Kobe.
not Kobe.
Oh, thank God. Okay, who is it?
Jerry West.
James
Jerry
Worthy?
West.
Jerry West? Doesn't he have enough already?
Yep.
Yeah.
They gave him
Does
something
he
else.
need more?
Yeah.
But
so-
anyways, the other nominees were Jimmy Butler and DeMar DeRozan. It's like you're just giving it to De'Aaron Fox at that point, right? Like,
yeah,
I
it's
would.
not close.
I would bury Jimmy Butler in a salt mine if it were up to me.
I feel bad for them not if they were going to have this award. I feel bad for Dame because can you think of all of the years where he justifiably should win this award, but it didn't exist?
Would he care?
No.
Why bother?
Yeah.
But anyways, no, I think that the Kings are good. It boggles my mind, though. I mean, I know that we have talked about how Clay has lost his step defensively, but if I was Steve Kerr, I would drop this shit of trying to have Clay guard De'Aaron Fox. That seems like a bad idea.
It's not working.
I mean, they're not choosing to do that. It seems like a lot of the time either he gets switched onto Fox or it's transition and Clay has to pick him up because if he doesn't, he's just going to score. But yeah, he can't guard him. Fox is faster than every player on the Warriors, and it's by a lot. Like Gary Payton and Wiggins are the only people who have a chance to stay in front of him, and even they aren't great at it. It's just a very different problem than the Warriors have had to solve in a while. You know what this series reminds me of? When the Warriors played the Spurs during the first Warriors, I think it was the first year when they beat the Spurs. I forget if it was their first title run or if it was the year before their first title run. But when they just gave the Spurs a run for their money because they were younger, shot from farther, and the Spurs were old.
You could do a Spurs Thunder here too.
Yes.
It reminds me of that. Like, who was guarding Russ on the Spurs? Nobody,
because they couldn't, because they were old. Yeah, Thunder Spurs is another good one. But I thought the continuity of like beautiful game offenses And also Mike Brown killing Steve Kerr, who killed Greg Popovich.
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
Congratulations,
just,
CP. You finally have a season that isn't sadness. Usually we would start this
it's not.
with you going sadness
and it didn't
suffering.
even take Ronadiv playing 4-on-5. You know,
think about how much better it could have been. If
you guys
played
don't know
4-on-5.
this, but guess who he put in charge of the developmental team? His daughter.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Hashtag
Nepotism
feminism
is still alive.
Hashtag Nepo feminism. That's amazing.
His daughter is in charge of the developmental team, so I don't know.
That's probably going better than the Hawks making the whole team, be taken care of by the son of the owner.
Yeah.
So Pete, you also have good things happening for now because it's the first round.
I do, and I'm very lukewarm right now. Like this. One, I want the process to fail, so I have to root for that for another 10 years, I guess. But two, this isn't the Nets, right? Like if you look at the Nets splits pre and post trade, basically the only reason they made the playoffs was all the wins they had before the trades.
Yeah.
This team shouldn't be in the playoffs, but they just happen to be.
Yeah, this team should have been a play-in team, and instead they were the 6th seed because they couldn't lose enough games after they traded Kevin Durant to
And they
fall
tried.
out. They did.
They definitely tried.
They are certainly playing like a team whose best ball handler is Spencer Dinwiddie.
He's back, though. They got him back. Remember when he was on the Nets the first time, and it was the D'Lo, Jared Dudley Nets with Kenny Atkinson, and they were fun?
Yeah, remember when he turned his contract into a crypto scheme? Everyone remembers this. But yeah.
Go ahead.
As
far as I'm concerned, I was just going to say, to put a bow on it, as far as I'm concerned, the Sixers' time in the playoffs doesn't start till next round.
Yeah, probably. I'm a little torn because the Nets, part of me just really wanted to see, and I'll credit this to David Thorpe, who is he's a coach who you can listen to his podcast, the True Hoop podcast. His idea for the Nets was basically to play like the Thunder or the Kings right now. Single cover Embiid, single cover everyone. That will lead to Doc force feeding Embiid the ball. Embiid is heavy, he's big, and he's traditionally had conditioning problems. Let him score as many points as he can on your single coverage, and every time he misses or makes, you run. Because you're playing against James Harden, who doesn't want to run, Joel Embiid, who will likely flop and be on the ground and not be back in time for transition if you just run all the time. And your team is younger than theirs. But the problem with that plan is that requires all of your team members to know each other's names and have played together at all. And like running requires people to know how to get the ball ahead to each other and where people want the ball. And, you need cohesion.
There's also a math problem here.
Yes.
So like if you're a bad team, you want to keep the numbers of possessions low because that increases variance. Whereas the more possessions you have, the more likely it is the better, more skilled team will emerge.
So the math problem, the idea for beating that math problem was basically as soon as a 3 is open, you shoot it immediately, and you hope you get hot. And then you hope that by running so much, you either get Embiid to have to take breathers so he's out of the game more. Same thing with Harden. And so you just run them off the floor, was the idea. That's the main conceit. Like you're hoping this is a 7-game series. If you do this every game from go, it's possible that they're not conditioned enough to keep up.
That's probably the best chance.
And that's a shot to win the series. Like you're probably going to get blown out badly in the first 2 or 3 games, but you might be able to make them so gassed by game, 3, 4, 5 that you then start turning the series in your favor. Because their depth is also old.
Yeah, I was about to mention this. Like, I'm surprised that Daryl Morey didn't do more moves to fill in the bench because I don't know how Pete is surviving this, but Pete, These Markelle Fultz minutes are looking pretty goddamn fucking disgusting.
Markelle Fultz minutes.
I'm sorry, not Markelle Fultz. Fucking Montrezl.
Oh,
These
Montrezl
Montrezl
Harrell?
minutes. These Montrezl minutes are disgusting.
It's been a problem for. Yeah, I mean, what are we gonna do? Like, bring back Boban? Like,
Well, B-Ball Paul is there.
that's true. We do have, and B-Ball Paul. He was putting it up.
He's good.
Game 1, he was looking sharp. But like, I never really trusted Doc's eye for non-talent he's not already familiar with.
Or his
Yeah.
family members.
Or
Also true.
there's like a weird. I know that it's not to the same degree, but there's a weird almost Coach Tibbs element to Doc where it's like, yeah, he really just wants to play his starters, and then he just throws his hands in the air when he realizes he needs to rest them.
I mean, he's been doing this series. He hasn't needed to, so it hasn't been a problem.
But
He's
I
been playing
predict by
nine players.
round 2 we're going to see Doc Rivers be Doc Rivers again.
Probably. I mean, the thing is, the Nets have actually been even worse about this. Like, the Nets are playing 4 deep. Pete, how many minutes do you think Mikal Bridges played in their last game?
Oh God, I have no idea.
45 minutes.
40. Jesus. I thought like Wilt Chamberlain was the last person to play those sorts of minutes.
Cam Johnson, 45 minutes.
45.
Spencer
My God.
Dinwiddie, 41 minutes. Every single player on the Nets, they're playing 8 deep. Their best players are playing 40-plus minutes. You're not going to have the legs in this series. They're triple teaming Embiid at like the top of the key, which, I mean, he's not an amazing passer, but he's not a terrible one. Like, he can throw the ball over dudes who are shorter than him to a wide open James Harden. And then you're just leaving a bunch of dudes whose primary NBA skill set is hitting wide open threes wide open. Like, it's just a bad plan. Like, it's going to look good when you turn Embiid over, which you will occasionally when you throw that much heat on a guy. But you're not going to win the long game. By the last 5 minutes of the game, you're going to get blown out. Everyone's going to be tired.
And I know that a lot of people were being a little bit generous to Joe Tsai and Sean Marks for how they handled the entire just implosion of the Nets. But at the same time, you really do have to give them the demerit of gambling that much for 2 players and it blowing them up on their face when everyone literally warned them that this is going to possibly happen.
It was a very foreseeable consequence.
Yeah, like KD, sure, fine. KD, got it. No problem. Kyrie?
I think I was actually wrong on their last game. It was 40 minutes, 41-41.
I mean,
and 35 for Royce O'Neal. What I was actually that's actually a little sneak peek for my discussion of the Suns.
Right.
But yeah, like this series, I think there was a route for the Nets to make it interesting. I think they have not and probably won't at this point. So the Nuggets, they've only had 1 game, but it was a mollywhopping, I believe is the technical
that's what they
term.
say on the streets. Yeah, that's what the hip NBA fans say.
Yep, it was a mollywhopping. They beat the Timberwolves by 30. This would probably be a better series if one of the Timberwolves players didn't punch a wall and break his own hand in frustration.
Or if one of the Timberwolves players didn't punch another one of the Timberwolves players in the face.
That also probably isn't helping them very much. Rudy Gobert apparently has a bad back, too.
Is Rudy
carrying
Gobert...
this team.
I mean, I know what you're going to ask, Pete, but that deal was bad the minute it happened. Like,
no, I was going to say, is Rudy Gobert the new Roy Hibbert?
I've been how many podcasts, Pete? How many years have I been like, I don't know. It seems like when this goes bad for him, he's just going to be Roy Hibbert.
Nah, I don't recall you ever saying that, Gino.
How many years? Yeah, I mean, I expect that when things go bad for Rudy Gobert, it's going to go very bad because he can't play offense.
I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. It almost is. I mean, they didn't have a draft pick to win or to use. I think you would still take the T-Wolves situation over the Mavericks, but yeah.
That's a tough one. That's a good comp.
That's a
I don't know
Sophie's
whose
choice.
is worse.
That's grim. That is grim.
Whose is grimmer? I think that the Mavs is grimmer just because they don't have anything to trade.
Yeah, when's their next pick?
Oh,
I mean,
boy.
with the
Is it
Mavs, you
2030s?
literally gave up all of your bench depth to a guy that you don't even know if he's coming back.
I know. So I think I would take the Timberwolves because if they want an out, they could trade Ant or they could trade Cat and they could restock. Or Jade McDaniels. Like, they have dudes who people want. I don't think the Mavericks have anything anyone wants other than Luka.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Who do you think's less fun to play with, Luka or Trey?
Ooh. I think Trey, because you can't even lie to yourself and say that it's worth it.
Yeah, that's true. At least, like, Luka wins some stuff.
Yeah, like, Luka wins, and also Luka is just, like, better than Trey at most things.
Definitely. They just both seem like such grumpy nightmares.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no personality winners in that trade.
Now, I thought that I was the person who had to deal with the sports media not giving my team the proper amount of respect. But, Gino, genuinely, I don't know how you deal it. I don't know how you look at the things that ESPN talking heads say. I don't know how you deal with the complete lack of television coverage. I don't know how you deal with, like, the absolute lack of flowers on the Nuggets.
It's so there was that weird part in the season where one of the ESPN people said that the only reason Jokic won 2 MVPs was reverse racism, basically, or implied it very heavily. So that was fun. That was a fun thing. And that was the only time when they acknowledged that the Nuggets existed, despite the team being first in the standings for fucking months. I very much enjoyed when a national podcast did a show on the Nuggets right before they went on their run, asking what's wrong with the Nuggets. And then right after they secured the 1 seed, they then had a show when they went on a little swoon asking what's wrong with the Nuggets, with no coverage in between. When they were winning most of their games by a lot. Yeah, so it's amazing. The Nuggets have been the best team in the West for basically 4 months now. It hasn't been especially close. And every team that made a trade is now somehow a contender that should knock them off. Pete, what do you think the number one clutch defense in the NBA is? Who do you think has that?
I'm just going to take a wild stab here, Gino, and guess the Nuggets. Even though that
it's
feels
the fucking
wrong.
Denver Nuggets.
That is a shocking statistic.
It was them the whole season. Like,
that's crazy.
Oh man, they sure can't play defense. Except when they try. then they guard everyone.
That feels like statistical noise. I know you just told me the statistic, and I still don't believe it.
I know.
It really is just tiring to hear the same people say, well, what about Jokic? It's like, God damn it. Like, we live in the era where the people who still think if you're a power forward, you got to guard a power forward. If you're a center, you got to guard a center. The point guard's got to guard the point guard. Like literally Drew Holiday's the best example of, like, no, you can switch. Like, switching is good.
You could switch. You can also, you know, Brook Lopez is also big and lumbering. You know why the Suns were able to get guarded by the Bucks? It wasn't because Brook Lopez was like all of a sudden switchy McFast guy. It's because Drew Holiday's fucking great, and he could guard the guy on the point of attack. Like you guard people as a team. It's a team concept. And also, Pete, where do you think the Nuggets were during their winning streak in terms of defense? Like, where do you think they were? Because people are like, you can't win a title without a top 10 defense. Where do you think they were?
Oh, man, Gino, you ask all these confusing questions. Again, I can't imagine they were much better than middle of the road.
They were like 7th.
That's better than I would have thought.
During their winning streak. They were in the top 10. They just kept being good during their hot streak. The beginning of the season, 2 of their guys were coming off of long-term injuries. The end of the season, they literally just rested dudes for like a month. And everyone could see that they were doing it. And all of a sudden, people were like, oh, man, I guess the Suns are going to blow them out. Which I think we should go to some of our either predictions or something. We could do a transition to the predictions, or we can go take a look at our preseason predictions. Do we want to do playoffs or preseason? Choose your own adventure. The Nuggets are good. Long story short, Nuggets are good.
We'll do preseason. We'll tear through those pretty quick.
We'll do that quick.
Rookie of the Year 2022. Our predictions were: ZP said Keegan Murray. Pete and I both said Paolo Banchero. We're almost certainly going to win this one.
Yeah, Paolo's going to win.
Pretty easy call.
Yeah, pretty easy call. I think I've said this to Gino, so I'll pose this to Pete. Pete, is this like one of the most well-rounded draft classes ever, other than a certain Wizards pick?
Well, what do you mean, like talent across the board?
Like, I feel like this was an astronomically well-rounded, like not just almost always the draft is top-heavy. Like there's one or two picks. Like I feel like all of the lottery picks, other than one, are justifiable either starters or already good to decent role players that have a place in this league.
A lot of useful players.
It's true. I mean, I think you're probably right. Just like nobody cares about that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like whenever I think best drafts, it's always like 2003. Like just crazy talent up at the top. So I don't know offhand if I know like, okay, which one produced the most useful dudes?
The most starter level players.
Yeah, but I mean, this one's definitely legit.
Yeah, there's almost every player who got drafted other than Johnny Davis ended up doing something good.
Wished we could have seen more of Chet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I guess we'll find out. Maybe Chet's bad. Who knows? Next pick, Sixth Man of the Year. Pete had Jordan Poole. ZP had Jordan Poole. Pete had Malcolm Brogdon, and I had Bones Highland. So ZP, your pick is currently screwing the Warriors. Pete still has a chance. Brogdon might win. He was going to be my pick, and then I went spicy because Pete picked Brogdon. And I picked Bones Highland, who
Gino, what is your, as a resident Nuggets fan, what was your grapple of the whole Bones Highland breakup? Like,
so I was
multiple
at the game.
sources of blame is what I think I would say based off of what I saw.
Yeah, so he apparently did not like that he was not getting more opportunities because Jamal Murray was back, and they moved Jamal Murray on to platoon with the bench, and so that meant that Bones had to play off ball, and he didn't know what to do because he's a ball dominant player. So he was apparently a locker room problem. I was at the game where Bones got pulled from the game because he did something dumb like 3 times in a row, and Malone just gave him the hook immediately, and he just left the arena.
He just left?
He just left.
Yeah.
He just walked down the tunnel and left. So that was the end of that. Like you can't do that. And
you can't just leave.
This team's trying to win a title, and Bones was being about himself and not the team. And I get trading him. I would have if I had to trade him.
I think he's worth more than 2 second rounders, though.
He was worth more than what they got, though, and that's the hard part. But the thing is, like when the management started noticing that he was doing stuff like that, they probably should have benched him and then traded him instead of allowing it to get that bad. So I think it was mismanaged a little bit, but I agree with getting him out of there once he was doing shit like that because the team doesn't need bad vibes right now. Most improved. So yeah, needless to say, I was wrong on that one. Bones Highland's not winning Sixth Man of the Year. Most improved player, ZP had Anthony Simons, Pete had Bol, and I had Michael Porter Jr., and the correct answer was probably Lauri Markkanen.
Good for him.
Did anybody see that one coming?
No, I didn't.
On my radar.
No, I didn't. I thought that he was really good for Team Finland in Eurobasket, but I did not expect that it would translate that much.
Yeah, I'm not watching a lot of Team Finland tape in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, dudes go home to their home country and get to be the all-star on that team, and then they come back and they're like a fifth wing, and that's not what happened. He came back a changed man from his forced Finnish military service.
He's still doing it.
Yeah, he's doing that now, I think.
Wow.
Defensive Player of the Year. I think we've got our first winner here. ZP had Rudy Gobert, Pete had Jaren Jackson Jr., and I had Giannis Antetokounmpo. We have a winner. Pete got it.
Yeah. Triple J
pulled it out. Good pick there, Pete.
Thank you.
MVP, ZP had Jason Tatum, Pete had John Morant, and I had Luka Doncic.
I could have had this one. If he wasn't out there punching teenagers, I could have had it.
Playing with guns and punching teenagers.
Yeah, right. That's an Instagram L. That's not a basketball L.
Yeah, and the winner is almost certainly going to be either Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic, but it's almost certainly going to be Embiid because Embiid's so fucking thirsty for it.
Oh my God, he is.
And he won the narrative argument with apparently a large portion of players and the media.
Yeah, he was trying hard. Jokic did not try hard for the last month of the season. Like, I get it. He very much does not want the award, and Embiid very much does. And Embiid has played really well. Like, he deserves it.
Jokic also, like, there's been this, like, whole history narrative, too. Where it's been like, look at the 3-time winners. Like, Jokic has never been to the finals. So, like, a bunch of the crusty olds wouldn't have let him have it anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, that was my argument for why he wouldn't win it at the beginning of the season. Like, he almost averaged a triple-double at the center position, and so he almost did it anyway. And want to know a Jokic fun fact?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
How, in terms of plus minus when on the court. So this is not on court, off court, plus minus. This is just when a player is on the court. How much plus are they? How high do you think Jokic gets?
Like, per what? Per 100?
Over the course of the season. How many total
God.
points have the Nuggets outscored teams by when he's on the court?
1,200?
Oh, you went too high. I respect that.
I was trying to do the math in my head. But I was like calculating it per 100, I think.
Per 100, I was going to calculate just box score. 600, I'll cut it in half.
That is, so just over 600.
I think I'm just bad at
points. It's the highest in the league.
$1.
As you would expect.
Price is Right rules.
Number 2 in the league, I believe, is Aaron Gordon.
Really?
And number 3 is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, otherwise known as the 2 Nuggets who get to play with Nikola Jokic.
I was going to say, that's a Jokic artifact, right?
Yes.
I feel like Aaron Gordon this season was really good for the Nuggets outside of like the random every third or fourth game where he forgets how to play basketball, which happens. And I still don't understand why that always seems to happen. Like every third or fourth game, he just forgets how to be an NBA player. But man, he's been really good for the Nuggets. And
he has. He's their Iguodala. He's good.
He's very good at setting screens.
So Embiid, I think, is in the 400s when last I checked. So, like, again, if defense was such a big deal, they wouldn't be outscoring teams by so fucking much when he's on the floor. Well,
here's the thing, and I understand the argument in terms of Jokic saying, look, I value being the top team, and I want my player to have two-way ability. Okay, that's fine. Then you wouldn't vote for Joel Embiid. You'd vote for Giannis, is my thing.
Well, Giannis is just scoring so inefficiently. He's so much worse than those two on offense. And the thing is, Jokic on court, off court, I think their defensive rating is like a 111. And Joel on the court for the 76ers, their defensive rating is like 110. So, like, he's better. But, in terms of overall team defense, it's not that different.
And if you're going to beat Kendrick Perkins and accuse voters of moving the goalposts, like, it's not Jokic this year that moved the goalposts. It was Russell Westbrook. And also, I looked it up. Pete, do you know who he voted for when Giannis did his double, his second MVP? He voted for LeBron James.
I did or Perkins did?
Perkins did.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't get a vote.
Don't put that evil on me.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, Perks. He really is one of the worst talking heads on ESPN. I'm
not sure I've ever taken his analysis seriously.
I mean, he was a goon when he was playing, and now he's on there talking as if he's an expert of basketball. I know that Gino proposed this, but I can imagine that when Perkins retires, if he retires, like, they're going to fill his role with Draymond Green, and we're just going to have to deal with Draymond Green on national television for the rest of our lives.
I'll probably stop watching basketball.
I mean, Kenny needs to keep his jokes up on TNT. He needs to be practicing. They are getting a bench, and they are Chuck's job is safe. Shaq's job probably safe, but Kenny.
Although Shaq's got a lot of legal problems right now.
Yeah.
He does?
He's been
he
served
got
papers
caught
for
up
the
in
crypto.
Yeah.
Oh, they finally served him? I
Mhm.
Yeah, they
heard that
finally
they were
caught
having
him.
trouble tracking him down.
Because
They
he
got
was
him.
isolating himself? No, he finally decided to leave his house, and they immediately served him papers.
He's very hard to recognize in a crowd.
That's what I
They
was going to say.
Couldn't
The
track
idea
him down.
of Shaq dodging a guy who's trying to serve him papers is very funny to me. Okay, Coach of the Year. ZP had Chris Finch. Pete, you had Taylor Jenkins, and I had Willie Green. We all lose because Mike Brown won.
And apparently, this just got reported. He is the first unanimous Coach of the Year winner.
Yes.
Really?
So, cool.
Okay. Good for him. He deserved it.
Yeah, I think of these, Chris Finch got screwed by Cat getting hurt.
Yeah.
Taylor Jenkins, I think, did a good job, but kind of got screwed with Jaws' whole thing and Jaron starting the season hurt. And Willie Green got screwed by Zion being hurt. Like that, all three of our coaches were coaching teams with major players being missing.
That Zion situation too is grim.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but someone did the math and found out that Zion has now missed more games than LeBron has missed his entire career.
Anytime too that like the organization's talking about how like a player's physically ready, but like he's saying he's not mentally ready, is always distressing.
Yeah.
Either whether it says something about the player or like their organization's mishandling, it's never good.
Yeah. And I get it. Like, if you don't feel like you can move the way you're supposed to, don't put that person in a professional basketball game, especially when they've got a history of injuries. But at this point, man, someone's got to just get him to drop 20 pounds. Like, take some of that
he's
stress
too
off your
big.
knees and your ankles. He still will be heavier than almost everyone who guards him if he was 20 pounds lighter.
And the sad thing is his start to the season was good. Like, Zion was genuinely working well with Jonas Valanciunas, who I feel like
MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Cat can ball. Like nobody's denying it. He's just, can his body take it?
Yeah. He needs to go to whoever Joel Embiid went to for his lower body. He needs to go to Steph Curry's guy. Like, there are dudes who have turned it around.
I don't know if you've seen it, but his nutritionist is his mother, and I think that's a problem.
Does his mother have any sort of advanced training in nutrition?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would probably. That's what you need to fix if you want Zion to be as good as he's ever going to be. He just needs to get his weight into a spot where he can operate effectively, or change his training routine so that his body can handle it. I'm not an expert, but like clearly that's his health is going to be a concern until it stops being a concern. Our playoff predictions: ZP had for the East Bucks, Celtics, 76ers, Heat, Cavs, Raptors, Hawks, Nets. That's perfect, yeah?
No,
Raptors
Raptors.
aren't in it.
Raptors missed, Knicks are in.
Maybe probably the most disappointing team of the year, the Raptors, because
Yep. Pete had Bucks, Cavs, Celtics, Hawks, Raptors, 76ers, Bulls, Heat. So,
Bulls.
Yeah, you missed the Bulls and the Raptors, so you were one more off. I had Bucks, Celtics, 76ers, Heat, Cavs, Raptors, Hawks, Nets. Same as ZP, so I missed on the Raptors too. We all slept on the Knicks, which I
Deserve it.
I don't regret.
No, deservedly so.
I would do it again.
out of principle, you hate Julius Randle that much, Gino.
I do. You're right. Jalen Brunson's really good, but I do fundamentally hate.
Well,
how they
look,
play
man,
basketball.
if we really want to talk about like dumb Mavericks things, boy howdy, the whole Jalen Brunson situation, right?
Yeah.
I'm so happy about how salty Cuban is about it. I love it.
It's like it's your fault.
Yeah,
It's
hilarious.
your goddamn fault.
I really love how he was like, we were getting the deal done until he talked to his dad, as though this adult man can't make decisions for himself and is just taking instructions from his parents. Oh, I'm sure Jalen really wanted to work for you.
Also, the owner of a team just openly flouting a private conversation that he had with a player. Yeah, it's always
not
a good
a
sign.
good look.
Yep. Our playoffs for the West. ZP had Suns, Nuggets, Warriors, Grizzlies, Clippers, Wolves, Mavs, Pelicans. So you missed on the Mavs and the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Pete had Suns, Nuggets, Grizzlies, Clippers, Wolves, Mavs, Pelicans. Also missed on the Mavs and the Pelicans. And I had Mavs, Suns, Warriors, Nuggets, Wolves, Pelicans, Grizzlies, Clippers. So I missed on the Mavs and the Pelicans. So we all missed on the same two teams.
Yep.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah, feels bad.
And then our championship predictions, which haven't come to fruition yet, but we'll see. ZP and Pete have the Bucks. I have the Nuggets.
It was looking good before Giannis got hurt.
Yeah, I still
Nuggets is still looking good for the finals.
Yeah, I still have the Bucks going over Miami because Miami feels very beatable for even a Giannis-less Bucks team. But have they talked about how hurt Giannis is? Is it just like a simple?
He's out tonight.
Yeah, it's a lower back bruise, but I mean,
back's never good.
If you've hurt your lower back before, it's fucking miserable. It's pretty hard to operate at a high level with that out. So yeah, it's
he's got so much back.
Yeah.
Yes, he's so tall. There's so much back to hurt. But yeah, hopefully he will be okay. And then the Heat look very beatable.
Yeah.
Yes. So last thing is our playoff predictions. So we've got our round one matchups. Let me just pull them up. I'm sure I could do them off the top of my head, but it's always easier with something in front of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And this is stuff you should take seriously. We were good at this last year. Dear listener, you know.
We seem to do better than people who are paid professionally to do this.
So we've got do you want to start in the East or the West?
Start with the East.
Okay. We've got Bucks Heat. What do we got?
4-2 Bucks.
I'm going to say $7.
You think it's going to be a 7-game series?
I'm worried about Giannis. I think they're going to go down 2-0 tonight.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
7-game Bucks win.
So 4-3 Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that it's 4-2 Bucks because the Heat got their they shot 60% last game. Like
that's a lot.
They shot the lights out, and they won, but
also,
I just don't think they do it again.
I don't want Jimmy Butler to have that satisfaction. 4-2.
Oh God, I didn't even think of that.
Next up, Cavs. Next up, Celtics Hawks.
Sweep.
Celtics in 4.
Sweep.
Celtics in 3, if I could pick that.
I originally had this listed as a 4-1 because I thought that the Hawks could win a game at home, but I don't know. Trae Young in the playoffs is a real fucking problem.
I mean, my bigger problem is that Trae Young is being guarded by 2 of the top 10 point guard defenders in the world, in Marcus Smart and Derek White, and he can't beat them. So, they don't even really need to send that much help. And then they're also just the Celtics are cheating off every single Hawks shooter because none of them can shoot that well. Yeah. I think we all have sweep, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 76ers Nets.
Sixers in 4.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the sweep.
I'm going to say gentleman's sweep. So 4-0 ZP and Pete. 4-1 me. Yeah, and I just think it's because the Nets have been close these last 2 games. I think they can win a home game, and then they'll lose. Also, because Philly might just take their foot off the gas.
That's true.
Cavaliers
Harden might
Knicks.
check out.
I think this is the best series in the East already, and it's paying dividends. I'm going to go, however, 4-3 Cavs, just because I think Evan Mobley and Jared Allen will find a way to put the clamps on Julius Randle, and if Julius Randle's not doing well, that is game over for the Knicks.
Okay. Who do you have, Pete?
I'm going to go Cavs in 6.
Okay. And I'm also going to go Cavs in 6. I just think that their team is better. I think that Randall's a little banged up. I think that I just don't trust a team whose offense is so ISO dependent on a team that's so good defensively.
And Tibbs.
And
Tibbs being Tibbs.
Also, I don't trust Tibbs. Nuggets Timberwolves in the West.
Oh, this is going to be a sweep.
It's definitely Nuggets. I'm trying to think 4 or 5.
That's the trick. Is it 4 or 5?
I mean, I just don't see what do you got for thinking that it might be 5? What are you thinking happens with the T-Wolves? I mean, literally,
I think
guys
the Nuggets
got
fuck around. I think
you
that
think
the
the
answer is
Nuggets
the Nuggets
fuck around?
just fuck
You think
around.
they basically do what Steve Kerr used to do, where it's like, I don't want to win this game.
Yep. That would be the way, is if they just fuck around.
I think after like a couple years of disappointments, I think the Nuggets are pretty hungry. I'll say 4.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 4. I think that the Nuggets have something to prove.
Yeah, I'm going to go 4 too. I believe that they will fuck around, but I think that the Wolves want to kill each other. I think they actively hate each other.
I think they want to go home.
All right, next up, we have, after Nuggets and Wolves, we've got Grizzlies, Lakers.
Can I throw both teams into the lake? Because I find them absolutely intolerable. Like, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to listen to the press cover the Lakers and how Austin Rivers is this foundational piece. And then Jared Vanderbilt, him and AD are this big defensive linchpin, but also the Grizzlies are one of the most annoying teams ever just because of Dylan Brooks.
Yep.
Is he I think that we've talked about this, but is he the worst starter?
No, that's not close.
On a playoff team.
No, not even close.
Does
Torrey
Rivers
Craig
start?
starts for the Suns.
Oh, that's right. I think that the Lakers got lucky last time, and if Ja returns, and if they can just even the series out, this is going to be Grizzlies in 6.
I was going to say Grizzlies in 7. I'll give Ja a little longer to come back.
I don't know if I should go Grizz in 6 or 7. Because I don't know that Ja being gone. So for those who are listening right now, Ja Morant fell. He got someone AD tried to draw a charge on him. He fell and he hurt his hand, bruised it really bad. So he's not playing in the second game of the series. And right now the Grizzlies are winning.
They're up 15.5.
Yeah, in multiple times that Ja's gotten hurt, the Grizzlies just kind of win like it didn't matter a lot of the time. So I don't know that matters that much. Their defense gets better when Ja isn't playing. Ja can't shoot, and Tyus Jones can. Like, against the Lakers, they might actually be better with Tyus Jones. So I think I'm going to go Grizz in 6. Because I don't believe in the Lakers.
That's cool. I'm happy for Lakers fans to pound salt.
Yeah, and they might win. They totally could win.
I don't know. I feel like I've heard all of these Lakers fans saying, we're true contenders this year. We're the spoiler team of the entire West. It's like, you're not wrong, but the way you're saying that just makes me want to take you by your face and press your face into the ground. Yeah, and keep pressing.
AD's very good. LeBron's very good. I don't trust the supporting cast that much. I don't trust their shooting that much. And I also don't trust that AD and LeBron will finish the playoffs. Next up, we have Kings Warriors.
I think the Kings are going to do this. I think that the Warriors will win a game at home, but I think that this is going to be a gentleman's sweep.
I also agree. Kings in 5.
Okay, I'm going to also say a gentleman's sweep. So we all agree. This feels like a series that will get worse for the Warriors the longer it goes, not better. Next up, we've got Suns Clippers.
Wait, can I ask one more question? Over
Yes.
under 0.5 more suspensions for Draymond Green in this series.
In this series, under.
This series under.
Under.
Okay.
Same thing that
Because it
happened in
won't
the
be long
NBA
enough.
Finals. Yeah, long enough.
They only have one more shot.
God, Clippers Suns might be the hardest to predict series because when one team's good, the other's usually very bad.
Who knows who will go down too?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I think Paul George is confirmed to not he's not going to be a part of the playoffs at all, if I recall correctly, right?
Yeah, so remember my earlier fun fact about how long the Nets players played? I was wrong. That was the Suns. So KD played 45 minutes. Devin Booker played 45 minutes. 44.
KD played 45 minutes?
That's asking for trouble.
He's old.
And Chris Paul played, I think, 39 or 40
Dear
minutes.
Lord, he can't do that at his age.
We are in the second game of the first round of the playoffs.
Who's going to
against the
spontaneously
Clippers.
combust first, then, I guess is the question.
It's Chris Paul. It's always Chris Paul.
Hey,
the Clippers are down their second best player. The Suns shot 58% from the field yesterday, and they won by like 10. They shot 60% from mid-range.
That's not going to happen every time.
Torrey Craig shot 5 of 8 from 3. These are all things going in the Suns' favor, and they barely lost to the Clippers, and then they barely beat the Clippers.
Also, I think that people forget that. We're talking about like starters that are not great, but like Nicholas Batum does not look good, and he's getting 20 to 9. He's getting 15 to 20 minutes. But it's unfortunate that the Clippers lost because A, Kawhi Leonard put on a clinic, and then B, this version of Russell Westbrook looks really good. I'm glad he figured it out.
I would normally lean Suns here, but the way they are playing, how desperate they had to be, and how many things had to go right for them to beat the Clippers at home in Game 2. They won the battle, but I'm afraid that sort of thinking is going to lose them the war. And it's not like Kevin Durant and Devin Booker played that much less in their first game. Their first game, they played... Kevin Durant played 44 minutes. Devin Booker played 43. Chris Paul played 38. That was game 1. I just don't see how these guys are going to stand up to this. What do we think?
I think it's going to be a surprisingly long series unless someone actually gets hurt. So I was going to go Clippers in 7.
Okay.
I also think it's going to be long. I think this is going to be like the last scene in Rollerball where there's just one dude skating around a series of fallen bodies. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go Suns in 7, and I don't feel good about it at all.
So I think I'm torn here. I think the Suns might be able to pedal to the floor and beat the Clippers, but boy, their bodies are going to be broken come.
Oh, they'll be done.
I think that the second round will be very difficult for the Suns if they make it past this round.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go Suns in 7 because I think without Paul George, I don't know that the Clippers just have enough, but I don't know that all of the Suns are finishing the series. So we'll see. This is the most rest they're going to have all playoffs, though. So we'll see. Do we want to try? I don't think we need to go all the way up to the title, right? Or do we?
Well, let's do a vibe check. So Gino, you had the Nuggets predicted to win the final or go all the way. Pete, do you feel good or bad about picking the Bucks?
Back injuries scare me. It's such like a weird body part. I feel a lot less good about it than I did before he got hurt, obviously.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
I still wouldn't switch. If you're asking me if I'm going to switch, no. I'm going to stick with the Bucks.
It's the Monty Hall problem, though, right?
It's true.
I think I'm not going to switch only because we forgot to mention it. Like, Jaren Jackson Jr. won Defensive Player of the Year, but Brook Lopez was a very close second place. And
he was.
The unfortunate thing is that Brook Lopez's style of defense is not flashy and does not fill up the stat book. So I think that his defense is criminally underrated. But he was a very, very close second place in that Defensive Player of the Year award.
He is stout in multiple meanings of the word.
Yeah. And they're just a very well-rounded team. Hopefully Giannis can come back because I don't know if Gino saw this, but Thanasis got 28 minutes, and I think that's the most he's ever played in a single game.
Oh, God. I fear for all of the players who are on the court when Thanasis plays.
He's just going to run into you and break your sternum.
Yes, I remember he went in at the end of a game. I forget what team he was playing. It was a blowout, and they put Thanasis in. And I just went, you need to get all of your players out of this game while everyone who matters needs to not be in the game because Thanasis is in the game. And then within 5 minutes, Thanasis headbutted someone and got ejected.
On a scale of like 1 to Zaza Pachulia, like what are we talking here?
The headbutt, you mean?
Just in terms of general play style.
Oh, Thanasis? He's just reckless. He's not
not
Yeah,
dirty.
no, Pete.
He's just
There's
elbows
no
everywhere.
Bruce Bowen level of skill to this
Got it.
dirtiness. There's like Bruce Bowen had
Just
style.
lack of coordination.
He's
There's
also
malice.
a hothead. Like he feels hot-headed at times.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say Thanasis, if you want a guy who's going to slap the floor and hustle, but doesn't know how to do anything on the basketball court other than slap the floor and hustle, that's Thanasis. You'd want all of your players of value to not be on the court when he's on the court because he is very likely to just try to get an offensive rebound and elbow you in the head and somehow also kick you in the dick at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, you have Wesley Matthews and Thanasis on the same team, and that just okay. Just a lot of weird.
And Grayson Allen.
And Grayson Allen.
Oh,
right.
God. I didn't even know he was still in the league. How did I forget that?
Yeah, so I think I'm sticking by the Nuggets. I might as well. I think that the East is probably going to be a bloodbath between the Celtics, 76ers round 2, and then probably Bucks winner of that series. And I think the Nuggets might just be in a position to roll people.
Is that how it's going to break down? Is like round 2 is going to basically determine the East power balance?
It'll determine the West too. Like if the Nuggets lose to the Suns, I don't necessarily see a lot of great matchups there either.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
think so.
That's weird. But basketball's good. We're all
My
kind of
favorite
happy.
sport.
Yeah.
I love the way they dribble up and down the court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's our takes. We might do another show before the finals. You know, we're not going to give you all of our predictions because injuries happen. Like if we predict like the winners of round 1 going against each other, like someone's just going to like tear their ACL, and then our prediction will look dumb.
Yeah.
So we'll probably do at least one more show on the NBA before the season's over. But thanks everyone for listening. Just a reminder, you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. Community Endurance Run coming April 28th to 30th, raising money for Pencils of Promise. Thank you, Pete.
Yeah, always pumped to talk hoops with y'all.
Thank you, ZP.
Light that beam.
And thank you, listeners. Till next time. Peace.